Hey there. I'm gonna be talking about subtick updates and how that relates to aiming and hitting shots on a client server setup in an FPS game in a multiplayer setting. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is just ignore kind of all the text other than this. We're just gonna use this diagram. So first of all, what is subtick? From my understanding, from how I implemented it, the server is ticking at a fixed rate, say like 60 hertz, represented by these pipes here, and your client can tick way faster. The reason why you want this is because you want if you're only sending out game updates at 60 hertz and you only update your camera's yaw pitch at 60 hertz, then if you have a screen that has a refresh rate of higher than 60 hertz, you're not taking advantage of the refresh rate. It will literally feel like it's a 60 hertz game because you can only update your camera view at 60 hertz. And so without subtick updates on the client, you're really not taking advantage of your refresh rate at all. So subtick updates on the client are kind of required, and that's kind of what we have going on here. Here are the client ticks, which are occurring at a faster rate than the regular ticks. These are going to be called like the subticks. And when we process one of these mouse updates, pretty much it's changing our camera's angle. And we just do that much faster than the rate that we receive our game updates. So here's us receiving our game updates. And so what we need to understand is how subtick affects how we aim and what we hit. So if we were to fire on mouse update 3, then our yaw pitch would be obviously different than if we fired on mouse update 7, right? But if we think about the server, we only send out mouse updates at a 60 hertz, which is way lower than this. And so the only mouse updates that ever get to the server if we follow along the path is 1, then we have 7, and then 13. And so what this tells us is that since the server is at the end of the day in charge of telling us whether we hit something or not, then it can only fire a bullet after processing mouse update 1, mouse update 7, or mouse update 13. It does not know how to do a subtick. It is just firing at that time, right? So if we fire on mouse update 3 or any subtick that's not on the main tick, then that's a shot that can't be reproduced on the server. The yaw pitch would literally be different. And that means that it's possible for you to click on a player, click on an enemy, accurately and actually, like on the screen, your crosshair was on that player, you fire, and then on the server, it doesn't hit. And then you don't get like your damage, even though you clicked on the player. And the reason why this is a huge problem, well, it's not huge. Like, I'm gonna demonstrate this to you, and it doesn't happen that often. It doesn't, but it does happen. And the biggest thing about FPS games is we always want it to be so that when you click on the enemy, they take damage. This is seen like through other angles too, because like there's this example where if you shoot someone who's trying to take cover, you can actually shoot them, but on their screen they got behind cover and you still kill them. And that feels like bad, but it would feel worse for the person shooting to shoot you and that not to hit. And that's kind of the whole idea that pushes us to make those decisions, is that if you see an enemy and you shoot them, then you need to be able to hit that. That's kind of the fundamental idea. And so with subtick updates, we're contradicting that idea in that like you could click on someone and it not hit. So that's bad. And we are just going to demonstrate that that is a real phenomenon. I'm not going to go into the solution today. I still need to actually come up with a solution to this, but I just want to show that it's possible, and that if you don't do that, you're going to have shots that should connect, visually they connect on your screen, but they miss on the server. And so let's just get into it. So we'll start with subtick firing on. I'll have to rebuild the project really quick. And while that's building, I'll just tell you about what this program does. So in this program, we're going to see a purple target, and there will be two sound effects. One will be kind of like a ding, and one will be like the sound of a keyboard clicking. The ding sound effect is a client hit, and the keyboard clack sound effects is a client miss. We also have another pair of sounds which are from the server, and they are more kind of electronic sounds. So there's another ding that's a more electronic ding, and then there is a kind of snare drum sound which represents a server miss. And so we're able to detect when we have a client hit and a server miss, which is what we want to look for, or a server hit and a client miss. But those are the bad ones that we want to see if they can happen, and let's see if they can happen. And bear with me because I'm not on a good mouse or anything, so I'm gonna miss. So all of those so far have been matching sound effects. So the kind of higher pitched ding is the client hit. So those are both misses. Okay, so there I heard the client miss and a server hit. So that's a discrepancy in that, like, I didn't actually click on the thing that was on the screen, but it still counted as a hit. Okay, that was fine. So that was a client hit and a server miss, meaning that I clicked on that object. Visually, my crosshair was on it, and it fired it, and it hit it. But on the server, it said, no, that wasn't a hit. Okay, so now we know that this phenomena happens. It wasn't that common. I'll take a couple more shots. It probably won't happen too often, but then we'll go to the fix. Or not the fix, but the non-subtick aiming. Okay, so that was a client hit, server miss. And it happens more, the problems become more obvious the faster something moves to, I believe. Okay, but I'm done with this, so just turn this off. And now we're just going to rebuild the client with subtick firing off. And what we should hopefully notice here is that there should be no discrepancies. Whenever client hits, the server should hit, and whenever client misses, the server should miss as well. So let's just make sure that happens. I'm gonna restart the server now, and that might take a bit to build, but we'll wait. Okay, we're good. We'll launch that server, launch the client, sorry. So yeah, let's make sure that doesn't happen now. So I haven't heard a single discrepancy yet. Five more shots. 1, 2. 3, 4, 5. Okay, so literally no discrepancies in terms of the audio sound, meaning that like when you don't use subtick, then the client and server can never be different in terms of their decision. Obviously, there will be exceptions, but like 99.9% of the time, they will not differ. But it's still possible to have a visual differentiation, i.e., you click on the thing, but you don't actually hit it, which was displayed during the first run of the client. So yeah, I just want to, that's kind of like a warning or just like a heads up if you're starting to use subtick that you can have misses and you need to account for it. And I'm not going to talk about how to account for it right now, but you do have to do that if you are going to use subtick, or else you're going to have these types of issues. So yeah, that's about it.